Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 cards in Modern for under $10. These are cheap and amazing cards that can make huge impacts in your Modern games that don't bust the bank. So whether you're brewing and don't want to spend too much money or you're on a budget, these are cards you should probably have. Starting with number 5, Haywire Might. Haywire Might is a 1 mana 1/1 artifact creature insect. When it dies, it gains 2 life, and you can pay a green and sacrifice Haywire Might to exile target non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. This card is amazing for a couple different reasons. One, it can get rid of a lot of the stuff that enable really powerful decks, like Ruby Medallion and Ruby Storm, like Goblin Charbelcher and Belcher, like Amulet of Vigor and Amulet Titan, Grinding Station or Literal Underworld Breach and Grinding Station. The list goes on, and it's also fine against aggressive draws because you also gain 2 life, so it's fine against energy, and takes out Goblin Bombardment in energy, and Static Prism. It has targets against nearly every single deck. In addition to that, if you're willing to spend that money, it's tutorable with Karn the Great Creator, like out of your sideboard, and tutorable with Urza's Saga on the 3rd chapter. The card is just amazing, and the market price is only 99 cents. The 4th cheap most popular card is Fatal Push. Fatal Push is a 1 mana black instant, destroy target creature if its converted mana cost is 2 or less, or with Revolt, which means if you had a permanent leave the battlefield this turn, destroy that creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less instead if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn. Now this card is probably the best removal spell in Modern, full stop. And you kind of need to be playing this card if you're playing black, so that you have that removal against decks like Boros Energy, Orzhov Midrange, and even Murktide. It just is the best removal, and it's cheap. Most versions of this card are less than $2. Number 3 is Malevolent Rumble. It's a 2 mana green sorcery that says reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard, create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token with sacrifice this creature, add a waste mana or colorless mana. Now this card in and of itself isn't that good, but it enables so many different strategies. For decks that use their graveyard and have permanents as combo pieces, like the Grinding Station deck, Malevolent Rumble holds the deck together. For decks that want to fill their graveyard because of something like Delirium and have primarily permanents like the Eldrazi deck, Malevolent Rumble holds their deck together. For the combo pieces thing again with Amulet Titan or Broodscale combo. Frankly, you'll be hard-pressed to find a non-aggro deck that is playing green that isn't playing Malevolent Rumble. It gives incredible selection and fills your graveyard, which is relevant for most decks. Number 2 is Surgical Extraction. Surgical Extraction is 1 black Phyrexian mana, which means to cast it you can play a black or pay 2 life. And it's an instant, and it says choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for any amount of cards with the same name as that card, and exile them. Then that player shuffles. The reality of most decks using their graveyard, whether it be Flage with Boros Energy, Grinding Station, Underworld Breach, or like Thassa's Oracle or Grape Shot or whatever out of Grinding Station, filling a graveyard like with the Overlords in Orzhov Midrange, Reanimation in the Dimir Murktide, Dimir Oculus deck. What's great about a Surgical Extraction is that you can interrupt what they're attempting to do for 0 mana. 2 life is nothing against most of these decks. And so you can continue curving out, just hold that card in your hand, and then when the time comes, you can just win the game on the spot very often with that card, or take away their most powerful card. Plus, if you do it on their draw step in most situations, you get to take that card out of their hand as well if they drew it that turn. Most versions of this card are just under $5, which is amazing. And the most popular card in Modern that's under $10 is Consign to Memory, which is a 1 blue instant that says counter target triggered ability or colorless spell, replicate 1. So the beautiful thing about Consign to Memory, especially if you're playing blue, is for 2 mana, it can counter an Eldrazi and the trigger that happens because of casting that Eldrazi out of Eldrazi Ramp. It can counter Grinding Station and even counter the Thassa's Oracle out of Grinding Station, or the Storm trigger out of Grape Shot out of Grinding Station or Ruby Storm, or a Primeval Titan trigger out of Amulet Titan, or literally the Amulet. You could go on and on. Goblin Charbelcher out of Belcher, or even the activation to give you an extra turn. This card has so much play, and we're even seeing Boros Energy decks splashing blue exclusively for Consign to Memory in the sideboard because it's so good against most of these unfair decks. And the non-foil version of it is right around $6.60 at the moment. But those are the top 5 cards in Modern that are under $10 and why they're so good, and you should pick them up. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.